Hello friends, I'm Nathan, your flipped host. Today on Animal Planet, we will be observing an average ill-mannered internet gorilla in its natural habitat.
Fuck, am I stupid? And I should come there and punch you all in the fucking face. This fucking shit you sell me.
We're not so sure what language is that, but it is sure to be vulgar. Well, you don't want to speak it like that, do you? Screw you. Especially in real life, however, there are a copious amount of people using the internet every day. Then you might ask, does saying so we have some bad consequences, like being punished roundly? Who knows? Oh, naive Jerry. Let me tell you in our lesson about bad language on social media.
Now, we have to know what the hell is bad language. And bad language on social media. Every single time you say something naughty and bad, which makes people sad, including your parents, is bad language. To use it is to insult someone or just to simply express your hard-compressed emotions. I think you've got some words inside your head already. So, let's get to the next part. Bad language on social media is actually more diverse than you might think, and was categorized quite neatly. First is the obvious bad language that you hear daily, like which needs no further explanations. Second is the semi-bad language, not necessary to be straight up bad, but just overused words that by the force of time turn into bad words by the whole community, such as. The third type requires you to be quite knowledgeable about the dark languages, as it comes in terms of abbreviations such as CLGT, CLMM, DMM, FK, and ST8. Their meanings are quite horrible, so good luck on figuring it out, okay? Good. It would be bad for the channel to be demonetized, no? The youth nowadays are getting quite creative with their minds, hence the fourth type. The newly found words. This type of bad language is less bad of the first type, such as what the fudge, prick, butt, poo-poo head, and please kill yourself. The fifth type is pretty special, as it was a combination of some bad words together, or some normal words that turn into bad phrases. This thing actually requires more brain juice to think about and create, such as thằng một coi, chí tệ của mày ngang ngửa loài động vật bốn chân, and ngu như heo. And the final type is very popular among internet users nowadays. It comes in the forms of memes, originally funny pictures with text on it, but now it's used as a meme to insult or bash on others, visually. Okay, got a hang of it yet? I hope so, because I'm not going through that again. Well, that's sort of the way. We will continue with our lesson. But before that, let me spoil you a bit. Do we think bad language on social media is bad? Spoiler alert, the short answer is no. And the long answer is no. But then, if the answer is no, what? Why? Whom to blame their face on? We will all have that figured out at the end. Cool? Cool.
Before going to the part of social media, the definition of social media is simply an interactive platform. People interacting with other people online. These things will be considered as social media. For example, we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You know, all kinds of stuff that people mostly use. In Vietnam, we use Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as the main entertainment sources. However, to clearly observe bad language, YouTube is too random and does not display enough. TikTok is too retarded for these research purposes, to which Facebook is the only valid contestant left for our choosing to make an example. Absolutely no bias in this, I swear to my fucking sake. So now, welcome to Facebook 101, where or whatever the fuck that may be. Facebook is a family-friendly app that allows you to connect with your family, friends, strangers you don't expect, stalkers, and the government, aka the FBI agent that is sitting on your phone or in your laptop. It has a post and comment system where people post a post and comment in the comment section. Has a revolutionary group function where you can see everyone compete to see who commits the most logical fallacies within 5 minutes. And also swearings. Cannot miss that, obviously. And now we will move on to the next part of analysis. So here we are, the analysis section. You may ask us why they swear. Well, to give you the answer, why people seem fine with swearing and why regulations have not been working so far.
The reason for swearing can be classified into a few groups of people. The first group is people who want to express their emotions, maybe fail to win in an argument, or see something morally offended in their opinions. The second group is people who are just natural masters of swearing. They swear in real life, and what could possibly stop them from doing so in the virtual world? This type is usually less severe than other groups, but can do it really frequently. The third group is people who just swear for the sake of being fun, in other words, being sarcastic. They add some mildly bad words into the sentences, usually only the youth do this. So in the end, people use bad language for expressing their emotions regarding the post they see, or they just lost control in arguments. The latter is more aggressive though. It has been quite a long time since people got criticized for using bad language on TV shows, music videos, or movies. Good at 2000, I guess. Anyway, along with societal changes, language also undergoes drastic change. Bad language used to be a symbol of unprofessionalism and foul mouth. But now, it is used everywhere. People are getting used to hearing and seeing these words, especially when the youth is the majority on the internet, and God knows what they are inventing and spreading. Furthermore, social media has been acting as a convenient escape route for people. They can talk whatever they think about without consequences. They're angry, they swear. They're sad, they talk suicidal. They're jealous, they talk viciously. Imagination is your own limit, perhaps. Even though it has always been a chaotic since the dawn of Netscape, eh? Okay, now to the fun stuff. Do you love the law? Yay! Me neither. No? No? Okay. YouTube might take a long time to implement this, but Facebook has the big advantage of having a naughty word ban list. Yay! So Facebook must be very clean, right? Clean my ass. Remember the youth creativity I mentioned before? Yeah, kids nowadays are smart, it seems. They kept reinventing bad words and smarty pants metaphorical catchphrases. We do not know how the algorithm works, but it seems Vietnamese is still a mysterious territory, as alternative like CHET or DJT works perfectly fine. And I exclude the abbreviation, please. Those are just too dodgy for Facebook to handle. Just please, spare them a hand.
With all of our bases covered, we are finally coming to our favorite part. Who should bear the responsibility of preventing kids from using bad words and what to do? You may be asking, but didn't you say before that bad language does not matter? Great question, but it's relative to real life. Swearing or blasting blasphemous words, either in real life or online, does not sound okay to me. You wouldn't want to cause unnecessary conflict and be bashed on or beaten till your face deforms, right? Yeah, me too. As everyone may be aware, the language that forms inside a child's wonderful mind comes mainly from two sources, which are family and school. For family, based on how formal your family is, the child may not know what bad language is because the parents do not wish to curse for the child to hear. The child is kept ignorant of bad words. Another case would be that the child knows how to use bad language but is hiding it, not displaying their knowledge in front of their parents, which is a good thing in our opinion. The child is socially aware and can control their speech and only use it where necessary or suitable. The worst case would be when no education is given from family members. The child will spot insult like a machine gun. That is to show how important family is as the first contributor to the child assembly line. On to school, the best environment to hear words that you don't want your children to hear, even though kids will know it eventually. Go to a random non-prestigious school, primary school, and you can hear beautiful chirping sound of first or second graders blasting bashit language. And you might have noticed that when it comes to prestigious school, there is usually a considerable difference in behavioral education. The wealthy schools have pretty strict manners, so they tend to create well-mannered pupils. Family education can easily undermine the school's effort to teach the kids manner, however. It's quite clear that no matter how prestigious or high class a school can be, they can never fully override the influence of the child's home environment. As long as the environment back home is toxic, filled with bad language, the pupil will for sure be affected, at least a little. But if the school are not strict with their student, it can also churn out bad-mouthed children. Basically, both school and families need to work hand in hand to better negate this phenomenon. One cannot succeed without the other, and vice versa.
Well, that was such a long arse journey, wasn't it? But tired? I know. I'm tired, retired, but I don't care. Screw you. Just saying so, I'm just asking it for formalities. So, in short, are we implying that bad language is a good thing? None in French is no. Are we saying that it should become a social norm and that everything should accept it and start to use it more online? Nunusi. It is no also in English, I'm sorry. But does it really matter at all? Definitely not. It is true that bad language on social media or anywhere does not sound pleasant to the ears at all. But judging by actual consequences, the real world is where the effects peak. The virtual world, however, they are basically little to almost none at all when it comes to the consequences. In the end, it all depends on each person to know the reasons and the impact of using foul language, and there should be one to decide whether or not to feel attacked by such a language. It is also on the education side to be better teach them in the way of proper language, and this includes both schools and parents. They should teach these future generations not to be overly affected by these languages. They should also teach them the supposed consequences of this well. Obviously, finally, and with everything going well, people will surely be more open minded and no longer be affected too negatively by these languages, and possibly create an arguably better environment as well. And my name is Nathan, and I hope you guys have watched this clip, hopefully, and I hope I don't want to see you next time. Bye bye.